Boom! Let's get her done. Welcome to the Do It Now show, which is our rebranding of the Marketing Happy Hour. I am Dr. Christopher Vogelmann on location at the Coronado Library. And with me, as always, is the trusty, whoops, do we have sound? No sound?
Yeah, we got sound.
Well, why is he pointing to me?
Because we like pointing.
A bunch of pointers. A bunch of hunting dogs that are here. Anyway,
we just like to mess around with you.
We like
Anyway,
pointers.
I'm John
Anyway,
Paduchak.
yes, you are. And to my far left, stage right, is the implementation coach, the simplifier.
Executioner is my dream job.
Execution. Yeah, exactly. Heads will
Executioner.
roll. Heads will roll when Dr. Kayvon is not on hold.
Get out the guillotine.
Anyway,
Talking
so
head.
you're a talking head, but you're not dead. And so since we're not dead yet, we're here to talk about the tips, the tricks, the strategies that you can use to get stuff done, because each of us, truth be told, has had our issues with respect to procrastination. But since we have the execution, or the what did you call it? Not an execution coach. You're an implementation coach.
Implementation coach.
Implementation coach. And get this, we have the anti-procrastination expert over here, because I read his LinkedIn profile.
Yeah, everybody loves that.
So no matter what you're doing, whether it's social media, whether it's posting content online, whether it is, writing a blog post, doing an ad, doing your laundry, taking care of the dishes, cooking, cleaning, whatever it is, each of us has experienced some degree of resistance to doing things. And that's why we're talking about giving you the kind of tips and tricks that will help to get things done and to have fun while you get things done.
Yes.
So I'm going to start out with the guy from the guy where you're never alone with Simplify.zone, Dr. Kayvon K.
Yes. Well,
Talk to me.
one of these days I like to start a procrastinators club, but I'll get to it someday.
Exactly.
Perfect.
I did that years ago with I had a cassette tape, which was for the it was a overcoming procrastination cassette tape, and I held it up. No joke. I held it up in the middle of a conference. I think it was in Kansas City, and I said, "I'm told this is really, really good, and I'll get around to listening to it someday."
Somewhere. Sometime.
Yeah.
That was my unconscious.
Okay.
Anyway, so let's talk about, first of all, maybe strategy, mindset. What's it going to take to not so much poke the bear, but to poke us into getting moving with momentum?
To pry you off the couch.
Would it be okay if I, ask some questions and bounce some ideas off of you?
Yeah, of
You
course.
can ask all you want, but I may not give you any ideas. So.
Okay. So here's the thing. Like you said, something that was, to me, is very insightful, that we all have dealt with procrastination at some point. And not only just that, many of other blocks that are in the way of getting things done, finishing projects and all of that. We all deal with all of them, and in different degrees and different times. So first, what are the most common blocks that you have experienced or you have heard from other people, as far as I can't get stuff done because of this or because of that? What are some usual suspects?
I have the emotional disposition of a toddler, and my favorite word is no.
Oh, there you go.
That's-
Yeah,
I think it's
called being a
resistance.
rebellion.
It's rebellion. Yeah, it's resistance. You're not the boss of me. You're not going to tell me what to do. And that was even true of my staff when I had 4.5 people in my office at one point, and they were basically, they would keep me on schedule. They would, put task lists in front of me, and being on my own was very difficult because I didn't have somebody telling me what to do, and yet I resisted having somebody telling me what to do.
Yes.
So that's kind of a mixed up mindset, which says, I want freedom.
It's the same thing, exactly. So, I'm so happy you mentioned this one first, because let me tell you a story from my childhood. So,
Okay.
I was in my room, doing my school homework. I'm working on something. I was reading actually something, and my mom opened the door without knocking or anything, just to catch me in the act of goofing off and not doing my homework. And I was actually doing my homework. I was reading a school book, and she opened the door. What are you doing? Oh, you're studying. Good. Keep going. And that part of me, that the toddler that you mentioned, I was like, damn it, now I don't want to study anymore. Now that she told me Good job. I
You
have
did
an
good job.
approval, and I want to do this again, right? And I noticed in me that even though I wanted to do that thing, but this resistance was so much stronger that prevented me from doing that. So we right there is the fork in the road. Do I want to fix this, or do I want to get it done somehow with going around it?
Yeah, otherwise you're going to be totally forked.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. You're gonna be forked. That's a good way to visualize it. So here's the thing. Many of the time with many of these issues, we like to go and fix it. Like, I should not be like this anymore. I should not be a procrastinator. I should change myself, or I can change the situation in a way that me naturally just doing my thing gets the results. So my trick was this. You know how people have their comic book inside of their school book, and they're pretended reading the school book, but it's
course.
actually reading the
I
comic
never did that.
book. I did the reverse.
You put a school book in your comic book?
Yes, I love Tintin books, so I had a Tintin on the outside, my school book inside. My mom would open the door, "Hey, get back to your studies." Oh, sorry, I will. So I kept going. So that childish resistance, now I had a trick to go around it. I wouldn't, that thing that other people tell me, you got to do this, you got to that, was not happening. And I was doing my thing, and I was doing it my way. So I said all of that to say we have two choices: trying to change ourselves, or trying to change the environment in a way that we end up with the results. We end up with getting things done. We end up with productivity. So the environment of productivity is a lot more important than the mindset of productivity. Does that make sense?
Well, can we do both?
We have to trick our way to success, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty
We
tricky.
can do both, but it's a matter of which one is the best use of my time, energy, and attention. Which one has a higher chance of success, right? Because in an ideal world, yeah, things can be happening in an ideal way, but we don't live in that world. We have to live in the practical world.
What's practical is I found the mute button as little kids are running around me right now. So.
Oh, that's good. You might need that.
That was easy.
But it doesn't work on them, though. It
That's
doesn't
my
work
easy
on
button.
them. I tried it. They just keep talking.
So, what are some of the issues that they come up? One is procrastination. The other one is rebellion. What else comes up?
Just don't feel like doing it.
Don't feel like doing it. Yeah.
Don't feel like doing it.
It's overwhelming. There's so many things to do.
Yeah,
I'd rather do
overwhelm is
nothing.
a key thing. Everybody
And
gets
perfection. If I can't get it perfect, I'm not even going to try.
There you go. Yeah.
That's a killer right there.
Yep. What else?
I don't have any time. People are bugging me all the time.
I don't have any money.
Yeah.
Too many interruptions.
No
I
time.
get
no
notifications on my cell
Get
phone all day
distractions.
long. People send me email. I'm trapped in my inbox.
Yes.
I'm afraid of criticism.
Yes. That's a big one. That's a big
There's
one.
one, yeah.
So
I'm afraid of
now we
RVs.
have a good list
You are
of stuff.
not.
And the approach is we should have a remedy for each one of those, right?
Yeah.
And it's like this: if this, then that. If I find myself not feeling like it, then I'm going to do the solution, right? The remedy.
Yeah.
If I'm overwhelmed, then blah blah. So that's identifying what is that after the then part is the next trick, right? For example, you mentioned I just don't feel like doing it. That's an engagement issue, right? Not being engaged with the task. There are many reasons for that. The most common one is what is also referred to as the New Year's resolution syndrome, right? Because at the beginning of the year, we have all this motivation of going to the gym or making a lot of money or all of that. By February 17th, I don't really feel like it. You know?
Yeah, because Valentine's Day, you ate a lot of chocolate and had champagne, so you really lost your motivation.
Yeah, and I've paid $25 a month for 5 months now, and I haven't
That
seen
should
anything
buy you
happen.
total
I don't know
immunity
why. I
from
haven't gone to the
disease.
gym.
I think a lot of people think that they've got a free pass to immortality if they have a gym membership. Somehow that's a badge of honor.
Yeah, I paid for the gym membership and it's not working.
It's not working. Have you been to the gym? No, but
We see the same thing with people that buy courses and figure they're going to learn the material by osmosis.
Yes. So,
But I bought the course. I don't know why I'm not smarter already. Right?
so exactly. What do you think happened there?
That's a good question. I didn't, that's probably, I didn't have the time.
Yes.
I had more important things to do than spend time on my learning. Well, it's funny you should ask that question. So when I think of that, I kind of go, people's values are kind of misplaced or out of place. And I think in order to not procrastinate on these things and get them done, you have to set aside time for what's important and to make sure that you do that stuff.
Yes.
So in my world, I always go through and I go, okay, I'm going to spend X amount of time on, things that I need to go through and learn and understand. Maybe I'm learning something new. I'll just put that time aside for that, or I'll block that off as a learning time.
Yes.
And usually for me, that's something I do early morning before I start work, or later at night before I go to sleep.
Excellent.
I like to do
I'm
those
a
two
terrible time blocker. Hey, by the way,
things.
just for your information, we are live on LinkedIn.
Oh, hello,
Ooh.
LinkedIn. Hey.
Hey.
Look at those gorgeous guys.
That's beautiful. Hi, LinkedIn.
So, John,
Yeah.
I love that. And you have, multiple ways of dealing with it and solutions and this and that. You know what you didn't say?
Uh-oh.
What?
Uh-oh.
Yeah. No, which is,
That's it. I gotta go now.
the thing is, you didn't say, I didn't do my thing, but I didn't do anything. You said I did something else instead,
Oh yeah.
right? We
Sure.
always do that. So here's the thing. If we were truly procrastinators, we wouldn't do anything. We just did something else. So here's the thing. There is no such a thing as procrastinator. We might procrastinate on this or that, but there is no label as in I am generally a procrastinator, because we did some other stuff. We just didn't do that thing.
Right.
So if you're not a procrastinator, are we anti-rastinators?
Sure. Let's
Or
come up with that word.
amateur rastinators?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, actually, that's the difference between amateur or dilettante and pro, according to Stephen Pressfield.
You get paid,
Yes.
isn't it, when you're professional?
Thing.
Or you hope to get paid.
But if we're engaged with something, we get it done. So that's why that goal in the beginning of the year, we get to do it. Then engagement goes away. We are engaged with other things, and we go do those new shiny objects. So
Right.
it's an engagement management kind of a problem, not time management, not procrastination, any of that. So, and one of the most important factors in engagement is timing, because if it's a New Year's resolution, the goal is 1 year from now. It's so far in the future, it's hard to stay connected with it.
Can you do monthly resolutions at the first of each month instead?
Yeah, we can. And here's the thing. You can do monthly and you stay connected with it. But the problem with that is 1 month, usually for important things in life, is not long enough to create.
No, I meant you.
change.
Sorry, that mute thing is crazy. Am I muted? Unmuted.
No,
You're unmuted.
Hear you.
Unmuted. So the crazy thing is, I was thinking of, you start anew every single month. Or some people operate quarterly. I know Todd Herman's thing was the 90-day year. So you get everything done.
exactly what
What
I'm
you get
going
done
with
in
this,
12
because-
months, what you get done in 90 days is what takes most people a whole year to do.
Yeah, because
Right.
of that engagement. Here's the thing. Because people lose their engagement and they're doing it half-ass job, and that's what 1 year is not so productive. So 1 year is too long. 1 month is too short, because you stay engaged but not get enough, you don't create enough change. Things need their own time and momentum. 90 days seem to be the right kind of a time for quarterly planning, 90-day planning, and that sort of thing, which we are short enough for us to keep the engagement and long enough to create significant change.
Would you recommend it going through maybe 45-day sprints within that 90 days, or is that too confusing?
Depends on the type of projects.
Okay.
Sometimes 15-day sprints, sometimes 30 days, sometimes 45. Depends, because depending on the project, creating a YouTube channel could be a 15-day sprint.
Right.
Right. Things can get done, but there are other things. mostly organic and natural, like that you need to hire people or grow a tree or something, then you need longer time. So yeah, look at the project that you have in front of you and how you can break it down in 90 days, and that becomes your sprint. But I highly recommend at least make it like in two parts, 245 days. That's the it shouldn't be a 90-day sprint.
Well, I was thinking this in terms of, a lot of courses are designed to be like 6-week courses.
Yes,
And then maybe they add 2 weeks of bonus or something like that
exactly.
onto it. So it just, in my head, I keep thinking that there's this 6-week, 45-day thing
Yes.
that fits in with the concept of the 90 days.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's why it can work. There is this TED talk by Steven Zagmeister that he's talking about, how do we deal with time in our life. So he's looking at the lifetime of a person. So the first 25 years or so is where you learn stuff. The last 15 or so is when you're retiring, and you have that productive time in between. Now, what he did is he took 5 of those retirement years and spread them among those productive years. So every 7 years, he takes 1 year off from everything, which allows him to rejuvenate and come up with creative ideas for the next 7 years of productivity. What I'm thinking is we can do similar thing with our year. So here's the thing. In a regular kind of a 9 to 5 kind of a job, people are expected to work and be productive 50 weeks and get 2-3 weeks of vacation.
Right, typically.
Right. Now, if we give them only 40 weeks, whatever they could do in 50 weeks, they can get done in 40 weeks. Because you know how you are more productive just before going on vacation? So
not just vacation too, but I'll give you a story when you're finished here.
Yeah. So first of all, I'm going to increase that. I'm going to decrease that 50 weeks to 40 weeks because deadlines are the shining light beacons of life, right? Now, here's the thing. And that 40 weeks plus the other 12 weeks, how about we break it down and break our year into 4 13-week periods? And you have a 10-week sprint and 3 weeks of rest or vacation. 10, 3, 10, 3, 10, 3. So you suddenly, instead of 2 weeks, you have 12 weeks of vacation and recovery, and you have 40 weeks of highly focused and rejuvenated, recovered from your vacation. And instead of 50 weeks of struggling at the end, you have 10 weeks of a sprint, get things done, you complete full engagement and complete disengagement. And with this back and forth, which in a smaller format is the Pomodoro method, right? But doing it in a longer kind of a format for a whole year.
I like the 13-week thing. It's very interesting. When we had VAs from the Philippines, they wanted the 13th month. That was tradition. You paid them 13 months. But I just did a TikTok the other day and put it on Instagram Reels where I was saying exactly that thing, which was my friend who I used to teach with all across the US and Canada to doctors and lay people. He used to say that what you needed to do, every doctor should take a vacation every 90 days. So he said at a minimum, you need to have that 4 weeks. But there's so many doctors whom I know, they haven't taken a vacation in 7 years or 10 years or whatever it is, because they feel that, especially solo practitioners, and the same thing is true if you're a solopreneur, you don't want to take vacation because nobody can do it better than you. You haven't really set up any systems. And also you have this notion that if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're enslaved, which, by the way, and I lost my train of thought. I had it earlier. Oh, yeah, because many years ago, my dad, who was practicing as a chiropractor in Buffalo, he got hit by a car as a pedestrian.
Oh.
And so he was within like a half a second of being a hood ornament on this car. And he wound up with 8 fractures of his lower right leg, 2 steel rods, multiple screws and plates, and you name it. But he couldn't practice. And I was practicing in the Washington, D.C. area in Maryland. And so what I would have to do, my mom called me like around Thanksgiving before we went up there, and she said, "We need you." She says, so his name is Stuart. So Stewie can't work, and he needs you to come to help us out. So I rearranged my schedule because I was operating Monday through Friday, and I took off every Friday. And so we compressed everything together. So I no longer had a 5-day practice week. I had a 4-day practice week. And I will tell you, everybody knew that Thursday night at whatever time it was like 6 o'clock or something like that, Dr. Vogelmann had to be out of the office and off to the airport, because I would go to fly up to Buffalo. I would take care of my dad's patients Friday, Saturday, fly back either Saturday night, usually Sunday morning, collapse on Sunday, and then do it again the following Monday. Yeah. And it got to the point where we were so packed within that time period, we made more money, quite frankly, between the Monday through Thursday schedule than we ever did.
Power of focus and full engagement, right?
Well, yeah, definite focus, engagement. I mean, this little Pisces goldfish mentality was just zeroed in. I mean, I was like a sniper to do this stuff. But and it was fun for the first 3 weeks. It got really old after 5 months. So I did this for almost 5 months back and forth. And it got to the point where it used to be that you would get discounts if you were traveling from one city to another. I took a one-way ticket. At one time, I figured out I was going to save money if I started my point of origin in Buffalo, New York, flying to DC as if I was commuting and coming back to Buffalo. So I saved a ton of money that way. But boy, the whole staff, they just knew. They were hyper-focused too to get everything done, because I had to be out the door on Thursday evening. So,
yeah. So the opposite of that is what we give ourselves. We think, I'm going to stay longer in the office.
I did that all the time.
Yeah, we just give ourselves more time, which does the opposite effect. We should give ourselves like a specific deadline of, I'm going to shut down the computer, the work is off, cut off, whatever I get done, I get done.
So and that's the beauty of hiring staff too, because they were really worried about me. I would stay at the office till 9, 9:30, 10 o'clock at night, working on reports and all kinds of stuff and going back home again. And so they signed me up for dance lessons, which forced me out of the office by 7:15 every night. Well, and so I had to be out of the office at that time, and I wasn't allowed to come back in. It was almost like they were taking the key or changing the lock. I don't know what their approach was, but so for me, I had to,
right?
I had to hire people to control me, basically.
Yes. So
now,
that's again your
self-control,
environmental productivity, right? People and things outside of you.
Change the environment to improve productivity. That was definitely true. And you'd have crazy things too. Like you'd have 5 new patients showing up in the afternoon. It was like, or the 6th one's coming in as a new one. It's like, I can't do it. I just can't do it. I'm going to be out of the office. So it was nuts. Anyway, so the strategy, Dr. K, seems to be to work on your mindset, to create some time blocking, and to manipulate your environment in order to improve your implementation.
Yeah, that's why I like to have a separate room for office. I used to, if you guys remember, I used to be in the living room because I wanted to be in front of the window. But after a while, that got old, so I'm back to this little home office that I have.
This cave.
Small room.
The cave. The
dungeon.
Cave.
The cave.
So I close the door when I go out, right? I don't see the computer. It's not in my field of view, and their stimulation is not there.
Well, one way to do that too, if you have, for example, let's say that you're living in a studio apartment or something like that, or you have a single room with your office in there, you can create a barrier, and you can use screens and other things to close it off, but still be in the same room, but you don't watch your Netflix at your desk. So
exactly, you don't do that, or that there at least could be actual rituals, right? So just this will do, like, okay, I'm done for today, and this act of clapping your hands and just doing this gives you the mental trigger. So we're done with this. This is closed. Things like that, announcing it loud, or closing a door, or stretching, or many of these. What do they call them? It's like a tapping thing. It's an NLP thing, I guess. But that again, you have a trigger. So an emotional response is created.
Sorry, I lost my connection for a second. That triggered me.
That's okay.
John, what thoughts come to you when we are discussing these things?
Gosh, a whole bunch of things. I mean, I
just name 12.
Well, okay, thank you. Well, no, I can totally associate with setting up your own environment, because one of the things I've been having some challenges with here is, we did some work around the house, and I'm working in a different part of my house right now than what I normally have. And so the one thing that I did is I've got a space in my basement that's the same size as my family room upstairs, with a big giant desk and a PC and everything. And I've been trying to work in a place where it's quieter, more
Yes.
isolated, without people around, so that I can just be more focused on work. So
Yes.
that's kind of the big thing. The 90-day thing I can always associate with, because I had a close friend of mine many years ago when I started working for myself, who said, our minds just can't focus on anything longer than 90 days. And so I've always worked in 90-day increments, in short sprints on stuff. And I mean, that kind of makes sense. And it works. It
Yeah.
definitely works.
Now imagine how I felt every time somebody asked me, "So, where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?" I have no idea.
You have no idea. I
Get
work in
away from
90-day
me.
I see myself outside of a casket. Thank you.
Yeah. Maybe that.
I see
I work in
myself
90-day
far away
increments.
from you.
I see myself breathing, maybe eating.
But the other thing that comes to me as you're going through this, Kayvon, is that one of my friends asked me one day. He's working over at my house. He's my electrician,
Yeah.
and he's never gone into business for himself. And he said, "What do you think is what's different about working for yourself?" And I think the number one reason that people fail in their business is that they don't focus on what makes them money, because they're used to working for an employer. They're conditioned. Oh, I don't have to worry about that. I've been paid for my job. I don't have to worry about these things. In our world, it's completely the opposite. It's like,
Yeah.
if we don't work, or we don't have systems in place that we're making money while we're not working, we aren't getting paid.
Yes.
So we always have to focus on what brings us money. And so one of the things that often works for me as I'm going through the day, and I catch myself in doing something I probably shouldn't be doing, is I'm like, is this making me money right now?
Yeah.
So reframing things in a positive way, or reframing things consistently,
Yes.
is definitely a key for me.
Yes.
I constantly have to catch myself and go, this is not making me money right now. This isn't moving my
I will
project
say,
forward.
though, time to reflect and not necessarily meditate, but if you're journaling or you're doing something
Yes.
that you're
Yeah.
deeply thinking about something, or being very creative without necessarily seeing the your Stripe account suddenly increase dramatically, or PayPal sending you notifications, it can still be valuable, but you have to put it within the context
Yes.
of
Yes.
being profitable.
So
Yeah.
that's funny that you should actually mention meditation. So one of my close friends said to me, "Geez, you should start to meditate more." It was life-changing. So the two things that I found that were absolutely life-changing with, eliminating procrastination, helping keep me on track, is my morning ritual, which I would get up every morning. I would do a whole bunch of, important things, my meditation, my exercise, all that stuff. It got me off to a great start to the day. I almost felt like, if I accomplished nothing more, I improved myself today.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad way to start the day. And then the second thing was taking time off, like maybe around lunchtime, to just take some quiet time and meditate for 30 minutes or so. And those two things, I think, have been absolutely crucial for me. Especially, I had a long illness. So, coming back from that, and it's funny, one of my close friends had a stroke recently, and he left me a message, and the only three things I got out of his conversation, I could understand: stroke, ambulance, and hospital.
Oh.
That's all I could get out of the message he'd left me. And he lives in the UK, and I was surprised that he even left me a message saying something happened to me. And so we were talking one day, and I said, and he's it's tough when you've had something happen to you, because you're just going, man, I feel like I'm so far behind. I'm frustrated. I can't get caught up. And it's important to be kind to ourselves,
Yes.
and just take time to get better, take time to let ourselves repair.
Yeah.
So that mentality is going to spread into everything for me.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
makes, if that makes sense.
I completely agree with that. On a personal life, we think everything is important until we get sick. Then we realize our health is important.
That was really
anything for
important. Why did
business.
they let that happen? Yeah.
And that's the
Because anything
beauty.
for business,
The
we think
beauty.
everything is important until the health of the business is under question.
Well, and your physical health too. I mean, I think the thing that I really love about being sick is it makes you appreciate what good health is.
It does.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And not having a profitable business makes you appreciate to do the things right, so you end up with a
Right.
successful, profitable business and go
It's
from.
know what you don't want
exactly
in
the
order to
same
get
idea.
what you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
The other funny thing is, the law of attraction does work in our lives, right? I know I have different things. Because I had this kind of health crisis, I run into other people who've had a similar health crisis. I have tremors. I run into other people with tremors. We all seem to kind of attract ourselves whether we like it or not.
But
And
yeah, there's a vibrational thing, a thought thing, thought
there is
patterns,
totally
and
a
other things.
vibrational thing.
Even if
Is that
you
a joke on tremor?
What was that?
it's a vibrational tremor.
You
Was
said
that?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that a joke
But,
on tremor?
but
Oh
you know,
man.
that's good, because if you change your habits, you also attract the people around you who are either working on changing their habits or have already changed their habits to better
I
ones.
always
And
say
it's
the
important to
world
be in the
aligns
club.
itself with a made-up mind.
Yeah.
Well, and speaking of habits, I mean, when at least a couple times a month, in terms of laundry day, nuns often change their habits.
The who?
There you go. I was waiting for the head slap. Change your habits.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. Thank you for that.
Dr. Kayvon K can use that in his comedy stylings. So,
You
Wow.
were doing so good.
You guys are
up
killing
until
it.
then.
Up until then.
But yeah, so establishing these habits though on a daily basis. So what do you think of this, Dr. K? So we talk about how you want to look at 90-day chunks and you want to do these other things. What's the optimal amount of time per hour for attention? I've heard 45 minutes, some say 50, kind of like the therapist. Our time
Well,
is on.
well, here's the thing. First of all, we're talking about the focus muscle, as I call it, right? And because it's being a muscle, it can be weaker or stronger,
Mhm.
right? It can be trained to be stronger. I actually have a training and video about that. So, a trained focus muscle, they have done studies. It can go up to 52, 53 minutes.
Mm.
And you had the keywords optimum, because that can happen when there is about 17-minute break between
Mhm.
the next time.
Mhm.
So that's why Dean Jackson likes the 50-20-50, right? So that he's kind of going with that model, and he
Mhm.
found out by experience. I noticed the same thing as I was training my focus muscle. I realized when I get around 50 minutes or so, I'm done. It's the wall. I can't go any further.
I know some people would advocate like 20 minutes and a 5-minute or 25 minutes and a 5-minute break. I mean, it just kind of depends on what really works for you. But I like that 50, 20.
Well, here's the thing. There are a bunch of other factors to it too, because as I was working on focus and productivity, and obviously Pomodoro method was very good and helpful, and I noticed it has focus, rest, focus, rest, focus, rest, focus, longer rest. So that's one pattern we want to pay attention to. Now, the standard Pomodoro is you work for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break, 25-5, 25-5, 25, 15-minute break. It was working like a miracle. And as I was doing it, I noticed another pattern emerging, and it was my relationship with the task. Because there are, to simplify it, there are three type of tasks: the ones that I really enjoy doing them, the ones that I'm okay, the ones that I hate doing them, right? I didn't want to do them. So that impacted how far I could stay engaged and focused on the task. So because of the ones that were enjoying them, 25 minutes was coming too early. So I modified that and I call it advanced Pomodoro. If it's a task, it's my unique ability, it's my genius zone, I'm enjoying it, I go 50-20-50 method, right? 50 minutes of focus, 45 minutes of focus, and 10-15 minutes of break. If it's an okay week, I do the standard Pomodoro, 25-5, 20. And the things that I really don't want to do, I have a smaller amount. I'll only go for 7 minutes or 10 minutes with a 3, 4, 5-minute break, because I don't care how much I hate this task. I can survive for the next 7 minutes. I can do it for 10 minutes. And guess what? All of these, they accumulate and you end up doing a lot more.
It's a lot
So,
like the person who goes to the gym for 3 minutes only. By the time
Yes.
you arrive, you're going to stay there longer.
yes.
Right.
Many times that happens. Yes.
You know,
But
the other,
knowing that I am only committed to 7 minutes, I'm only committed to 5 minutes goes a long way.
you know, the other thing I'm thinking of as you're going through this of how important it is not to try to multitask, which a lot of people do. It's super important to finish one thing.
Excuse me,
move on to the
I'm
next.
tweeting now.
So yeah, exactly. You can see what I mean here. No, but
I have to deal with it every day.
yeah, and that's one thing I struggle with because I work on my computer and I've got like a million tabs open. I know I'm not alone because I know about 80 people who are just like me. And
I used to be a tabaholic, but you got me to switch into that. What's that thing, the app that you got me to use?
One tab.
That's it, one tab. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can close them all off and just go back to them as you need them. That's been a lifesaver for me because I'll have too many things open. I concentrate on that. Email is a distraction. All of these things you have to eliminate. All these different
for many years, and recently I'm really enjoying another one called Toby.
Toby.
Toby, T-O-B-Y.
Oh, Kobe.
No, T like Thomas.
T-O-B-Y. Toby.
Yeah.
Toby.
T-O-B-Y.
T-O-B-Y.
Yeah.
It sounds like a dog. Toby.
No, it sounds like a drinking buddy. Hey, I'm heading out to the bar with Toby.
Or Spider-Man. Wasn't it his name? Toby?
No,
Yeah.
well, I don't know. I'm not sure. Anyway, Dr. Kayvon K is the one with he's the one with the comic books with the textbook inside. So, he's got his Spider-Man comic. Hey, so all right, so we talked about that. So what are there any particular motivations like rewards that you can set up for yourself? I know some people say, I mean, in the most primitive manner, that I'm going to enjoy that piece of Godiva chocolate once I finish blah, blah, blah. Now, clearly that's not in a weight loss program, but you have something that you're going to look at, or maybe, I got this thing on Netflix. I can't binge watch it, but I can see one episode once I finish this blog post.
Right.
Well, I am into eating healthy, but I have this protocol called Ice Cream Fridays.
Is today Ice Cream Friday?
Yes, today. After
Oh,
this,
man.
and, when I finish my daily tasks.
That's my weakness in life, ice cream.
I got a subscription for my birthday, which is the 26th of February. I got a subscription to the Ice Cream Club from a local place. 5 pints of ice cream per month are being delivered. And so I've actually,
a long club to be part of.
this is not. So I'm pretty sure, even though they were good for the first month or so, I think we're going to just cancel it and get the, not do months 2, 3, 4, and 5.
Okay, this live stream is turning into a intervention for Chris.
It's an intervention. I need a 12-step program for my addiction to 31 flavors.
Yes.
So that's what it is.
As far as rewards,
my therapists are Baskin and Robbins.
There you go.
Perfect.
2 things. One is moving away from pain.
Yeah.
And the other one is going towards pleasure. I like to use both.
But don't you find that the avoidance of pain is far easier in terms of motivating people than the seeking of pleasure?
7 to 10 times more effective.
Yeah.
Right. So I do have looking at, like, there are two ways of doing it, like, but how am I going to feel about myself by the end of the day, or all the way in future in my deathbed.
Ooh.
They both contribute to my productivity today and now. And the other one is, again, what is it that I want to be proud of tomorrow when I wake up that I did yesterday, or again, end of life.
All of those are great. I think we should even, maybe I can put them into a comments section. We can just list them underneath these videos, because I think that's some very interesting stuff. Stephen Covey, I remember Stephen Covey, because there's this big bald-headed guy staring at me. I know the whole story. So and speaking right to me the whole time. Guy. Yeah, exactly. Hotbaldguys.com.
That's right.
There's no site there yet.
It will be something someday,
Someday there's going to be a bunch of hot
working
bald
on Dean on that one, but
you really have a bright head.
Poor Kayvon won't qualify though. He's
was
got to
that?
shave his head. Kayvon can't qualify. He's got to shave his head to make this
Said
happen.
he really had a bright head. Oh, sorry, a bright mind.
Super bright
Right,
mind.
man.
But what got me was, and I did this exercise more than once, was the writing your obituary. That's a
Oh, yeah.
fascinating exercise. It really is.
Yeah, I have done that many years ago.
Yeah, I'm
And
ready
now
to
that
do it
you
again.
reminded me, I want to do it again. It was a life-changing experience. Now,
Yeah.
here's the thing. If anybody wants to do that, do it at a time of the day that you know you're not going to be disturbed for a good 3 hours or so, or 4 hours. So perfect time would be when everybody goes to sleep. You sit down with pen and paper and go for it, because it's deep, it's emotionally engaging, and it's life-changing. What is it that I want people say in my funeral? Write that down, and it is a great experience.
Yeah, I want them to say, "Hell of a party guest."
Hell of a party guest.
That's-
That's what I want at my funeral.
the party's here on the other
Have
side.
a great
That'll be on the
party and
tombstone.
enjoy,
It's like,
enjoy talking about me.
oh man. So what other tips or tricks do you have? I mean, the Pomodoro just sounds like you had the exalted Pomodoros, like it was an heirloom tomato that you came up with. Are there any other things that we can do to modify our environment to put the odds in our favor?
Yes, noise canceling headphones.
That'd be great, especially here. I've got sirens
Yeah.
from ambulances and other things going by.
Yeah.
Can I find a
noise
way to
cancelling
cancel the
headphones,
people around me?
Oh, the people around you is very interesting too.
those,
I mean, setting,
those eye blockers that horses have.
yeah, we not the blinders.
Horse
We not the
blinders.
blinders on here. You may want to own the race course, but if you are your own horse, then you want to put the blinders on.
Put the blinders on.
Can't remember what it was I was going to say. It's sad when these senior moments creep up on.
And there is, because you just go work in a place that's secluded and quiet. It's
Yeah,
funny
well,
how
that's the thing. Finding a quiet place. I know what it was. It was setting boundaries, like a Brene Brown moment, where you need to say, "This is my time. This is what I expect. Please don't interrupt me during this time." That's very challenging when you have a couple who both work from home and occupy the same residence.
Yes.
Yes. Also,
Yes.
in a home environment, the you know how we get things done more when we sit in a coffee shop. So there are apps or websites that they play sound of a coffee shop
Wow.
as you play.
Like,
So it creates that sound bubble, because all the other noises they come and ricochet against that bubble, either headphones or that. So that white noise in the background, that is, like a sandwich shop, coffee shop kind of a thing, that
do
you
you
hear
have your?
this.
I was going to say, do you have your choice of things? Can you hear venti, caramel macchiato, or something, or is it just like a general coffee clinking type thing?
General coffee clinking.
It's not brand specific, is it?
Yeah, it's Seattle's best coffee.
Seattle's best, yeah. Vancouver's worst.
And I mean, they do have a lot of other things too that are helpful.
I mean, ocean sounds will put me to sleep, which is why
they have outside office spaces, that you can rent for a day, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've done the WeWork stuff. I mean, not the WeWork, but we used to be members of the University Club in downtown San Diego, and so I used to take the ferry across the bay, take the little free ride shuttle up Broadway, and then go there, and then have like once a week we had like a 5 to 6 hour stretch of working with their Wi-Fi and everything else. But there were temptations there. People you would know, almost like the water cooler conversations. That was the bad part. And they had lots of fresh baked cookies. Also a bad feature of that club.
Could be.
You speak of temptation. So the same way that the best way to eat healthy is not to have junk food at home.
Yes.
Limitations, like a deadline, really help us. So here is one trick. You want to get things done? Take your laptop, go to a coffee shop or library, but do not take your charger.
Oh,
holy crap!
For an hour or something. Yeah.
This broadcast
you will get
quite quickly.
Stuff done.
Yeah, I can't. I found I can't work in a coffee shop. It just doesn't work for me.
That's because you didn't order enough coffee.
But I can't drink coffee anyways, really. So I mean, it doesn't really help. But the other thing that I love, Kayvon, is, and I know you did it, and Dean was telling me about it, is the Zoom calls where you do co-working with other people.
Yes.
So they're kind of like a little Zoom accountability call, and you say, "Hey, how you doing? I'm going to work on this. You're gonna work.
Yeah.
You know, you're working on what,
I
and
have
then go at it. So
about almost 90-minute sessions per week with
yeah,
two of my friends every week.
yeah.
Yeah, we are
And
working on things together.
and
Yeah,
yeah, and with COVID, when COVID first started, that I think we did lunch clubs for a while. And
Yeah.
one of the common things that people ask me is they said, you've been working in by yourself at home for a long period of time. What are some of the ways that you found to be more productive, now that you're home? Because I've got kids around, I'm trying to do this for the first time. I can't go to an office space where I usually work. What do I do? This is
Duct tape. Duct tape.
Duct tape is awesome. Yes, I highly recommend it. One of the other things that I found that's really, at least intriguing to me, is I've had a number of friends who said that they rented out a place to get away for like a weekend to write a book. They went out to a tiny house and rented it, or a cabin, or a hotel room, or something like that.
Hotel rooms. Yeah, I know
Yeah,
people they've been writing a book, or maybe there's a series of
sure.
articles they're trying to do, and they rent a hotel room and they're there for 3 to 5 days.
And I realized, that's my allure to RVing too, because that's my way of getting away for some space away to be able to get things done. Because I find when I'm here, we're surrounded by our usual stuff, and it is kind of important to get out and get away someplace else, because it just feels different. You
Yeah.
don't feel like you've gotten away from all the surroundings and trappings
Yeah.
that you're used to, and the things that kind of get in your way or feel congested to you.
Yeah, you said the keyword over there. They're surrounded by usual stuff. You do the usual things. For that things that is not usual, writing a book, because
Yeah.
you want to be in unusual environment as well.
Yeah.
But doesn't that but the thing about the RV thing, which confuses me, is there a space within your RV where you would be working, similar to what we were talking about, having a dedicated workspace in your house? Or are you in vacation mode and have to struggle to get something done?
No, not so much. So it's funny you should ask that question. So what I find when I'm in the RV trying to work is I'll either work at the dining room table, and Andrea might be doing something else. Maybe she's outside sitting, enjoying the sun or the shade or whatever it might be. Or I'll go out and work at a picnic table, or I'll work in the passenger seat a lot of times, because we got a big flat dashboard, and I can put my laptop down on the dashboard and just work.
So you can't use the laptop in the captain's chair.
Not well, because the steering wheel gets in the way. But I have done it before.
Disconnect it.
I have done it before, but no, it doesn't work as well. But that's how I managed to do that. And a lot of times, I'll go get away for a weekend someplace close by. Andrea has Saturday hours, so she'll go out to work, and I'll just stay and work in the RV for the day, which is uber productive. It works out great. So
would you consider taking the RV into a Walmart parking lot and then working from there?
I've done that before. I literally have done that before, where I'll just take my own studio apartment on wheels. I'll go park at Sam's Club or the Walmart parking lot or supermarket, and just hang out there. And I can go in and grab stuff at the supermarket for lunch and cook it right on the spot. It's kind of fun. So it is kind of a little bit of a getaway from my usual routine. So I do that occasionally.
I think we do need to break up our routines, because we've become stale. So when I used to commute between a Maryland office and a Virginia office and a third office, I used to find that I got into this sort of trance of driving, and I would forget like 20, 30-minute periods. But if I made a deliberate effort to change my route, even though it may take me like an extra 3 minutes or something like that, that actually primed my brain to be a little more alert and creative that day.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because another thing that I found that's helped me a lot recently is I'll do a lot of my busy work and making phone calls from the car, because I can do that while I'm going and doing my errands. So I make that my phone call time. I'll just run my calls.
Is that why you're calling me from the car?
Quite frequently, yes, that is the case. It just kind of works better to catch up, either to line things up or to actually have quick conversations with the people I normally talk to from the road.
I would have thought that it would have been a conversation from the car.
Conversation from the car. Exactly. The car.
Your cousin from Boston.
That's me. That's me, Pally.
Pally. I like Pally. There's an expression.
That's right.
Well, we've actually gone this is our therapy for today. We've actually reached the 50-minute hour. Our time is up.
Very good. This has
Our
been a good
time is
session.
up. This has been good. It was longer than I thought it would be, but it was also more productive and potentially more life-changing than I thought it was going to be. So thank you, Dr. Kayvon K. John Paduchak, the anti-procrastination expert and future or founder
Blinders.
of the RVHBA. Blinders, and if we start saying dirty words, earmuffs.
No,
I
it's because
think
I'm cramped.
this video
I'm
was
cramped in
shooting
this tiny space.
monkeys
I
right
can't go
now.
like this. I can't
Oh,
wave.
I see. Wait, so I have to do,
The
or am I
monkeys.
doing this?
I've got no room to
It's
wave.
hear no evil,
anymore.
see no evil,
Yeah.
think no
Hear
evil.
no evil.
Or that, no,
I'll
the
go
fourth
to-
one is
I'll
have
go
no
to-
fun. No, but the fourth one is have no fun. We need number 4. All right. So if
Okay.
you have any suggestions for topics you'd like us to deal with, or you have a particular issue with respect to getting stuff done, that's why we're here. And we're going to be sharing with you all of our best stuff and sharing with you also our journey, what's been working for us, what's not working, and how we can improve. And it's like a little 3-person brain trust every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. So do it now. And if
Yeah,
you got,
you know-
especially if you've got a dairy farm, do it now for every cow.
And one last thing before we run.
Yes.
If you enjoyed this broadcast, hey, give us some love. Tell us you liked it, loved
Show
it,
us,
whatever.
show us some
Even
little.
if you hate
show
it,
us-
tell us that too.
what we say is show us a little bit of what do they call it? A little sprinkle a little magic fairy dust, a little social dust
There
our
you
way.
go. And
Yes.
if you got
Because they don't
comments,
like it when you ask for stuff. The
There you
various
go.
platforms, they hate that.
and if you got
also-
comments or things
Yeah.
you'd like to see, put them wherever you see this below in the comments.
Stick it down below, and if you can use, I'm going to say it, hashtag replay. Let us know that you're watching on the replay. And several of you have actually done that recently. Thank you so much, because we get a notification, and that helps us to come back and answer your questions or take on your suggestions, because we're all about the engagement. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that ring.
That's right.
All right. Speaking of rings, we're going to ring off for now. We'll be back here, same bad time, same bad channel.
Next
And hey,
week.
have a great weekend.
See ya.